They were supposed to be harmless. Little cylinders and glowing discs that sit quietly on your computer, waiting to tell you the weather.
Alexa, will I need an umbrella tomorrow?
It might rain in Aliquippa tomorrow. There's a 54% chance.
Alexa, set a timer. Alexa, play some music. Alexa, what's the capital of Norway? You don't think of them as machines listening to everything. You think of them as machines waiting to help. But that's not how they work. Smart speakers are always listening. Not to every word, not in a conspiratorial way, but to every sound, every pattern, every hint that you might be talking to them. Most of the time, the invisible listening layer stays in the background. Tonight we're going to talk about the times it didn't. The times Alexa stepped out of the role of assistant and acted like something else entirely. Our story starts in Portland, Oregon. A couple is at home doing something extremely normal, talking about home repairs. They're standing in their living room discussing hardwood floors, costs, contractors, the kind of conversation you'd never expect anyone else to hear. No one says the word Alexa. No one gives a command. The echo sitting in the corner is just part of the scenery. Or at least, that's what they think. A little while later, the husband gets a phone call. It's one of his employees. Someone he knows, but not well enough to share private life details with. The employee sounds alarmed. Unplug your Amazon devices right now. You're being hacked. The husband laughs it off. It sounds dramatic. Paranoid.
The person on the other line said, "Unplug your Alexa devices right now."
Then the employee tells him why he called. I just got a recording of you two talking about your house, about your floors. Alexa sent it to me.
We go around and unplug them all. He proceeded to tell us that he had received audio files, recordings from what was going on in our house.
Their echo had silently woken up, recorded a chunk of their conversation, and sent the audio file to someone in the husband's contact list. No chime, no now sending your message, no confirmation prompt. Just capture and transmit.
Danielle says her Amazon device in her Portland home recorded a private conversation and sent that recording to a random contact, which happened to be the employee in Seattle.
When this hit the news, Amazon confirmed it happened. They said it was all a giant misunderstanding. According to them, the device misheard background conversation as Alexa, then misheard another phrase as send message, then interpreted some part of the chat as a contact name, then took something else as yes. A chain of errors perfectly lined up, all from random noise. The company called it extremely rare. Security researchers called it something else. Statistically absurd. The reality is simple and uncomfortable. In that moment, the couple did exactly what Amazon told them to do. Brought a smart speaker into their home, trusted it to respond when needed, and stayed quiet the rest of the time. But the system's idea of needed wasn't the same as theirs. If there's one story that made people genuinely creeped out by Alexa, it's this one. In early 2018, posts started popping up on Reddit, Twitter, and support forums. Alexa just laughed, out of nowhere. It was sitting in my living room, and it laughed at me. No one said anything, no one triggered it. The laugh people heard wasn't a cheerful cartoon sound. It was described as short, dry, and strangely human.
Amazon acknowledging a malfunction that's causing Alexa devices to just start laughing without prompting.
Imagine sitting alone in a dark room, reading or scrolling on your phone. And from the other side of the room, you hear your speaker chuckle. Not announce, not respond, not glitch. Just laugh. Amazon's explanation again was that Alexa misheard certain phrases as Alexa, laugh. They changed that command to Alexa, can you laugh? To reduce accidental triggers. That's a patch. It doesn't answer the bigger question. Why does a system designed to wake up only when spoken to sometimes decide to speak when no one said anything at all? Some engineers have suggested that early versions of the wake word detection model weren't just listening for exact phrases, but rough approximations. In other words, Alexa was trying so hard to be helpful that it sometimes decided you were talking to her when you weren't. If that's true, then the laugh isn't supernatural. It's just the system misfiring. The digital equivalent of someone nervously laughing at the wrong time in a conversation. Still, if you're the one sitting in that quiet room at midnight, staring at a glowing tube that just laughed for no reason, knowing that doesn't necessarily make it feel better. To understand why these things happen, you have to know how these devices actually listen. Smart speakers don't sit idle and wake up like a person opening their eyes. They are always capturing audio in a short loop, constantly running it through a model looking for patterns that match the wake word. The model isn't asking, "Did someone say Alexa?" in plain language. It's checking whether the sound wave, its shape, rhythm, frequencies, matches examples it's been trained on. If it sees something close enough, it flips a switch. Now we're on. Now we're recording. Now we're going to ship the next bit of audio to the cloud for full analysis. That cloud system then tries to convert the sound into text and map it to an intent. Set a timer, play a song, send a message, call someone. Every step in that chain involves thresholds and guesses. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is truly certain. So when we say Alexa misheard something, what we're really saying is this. The device found a pattern it thought belonged to a command, and it committed to that decision. And even though no human in the room would agree, in the best case, you get a weird, "Sorry, I didn't understand that." In the worst case, you get that Portland couple's hardwood floor conversation sent to the wrong person. In 2017, researchers published something that sounded straight out of science fiction. They discovered that assistants like Alexa, Siri, and Google now could be controlled using ultrasonic commands, frequencies too high for human ears to detect, but perfectly audible to the microphone sitting inside these devices. They called one attack Dolphin Attack. By modulating these high-frequency sounds, they could embed commands like open this website, turn on airplane mode, add this item to your cart, call this number. In demonstrations, the room sounded silent to the human observers, but the devices listened, obeyed, and acted. Is that happening to everyday users on a large scale? Probably not. But it proves something important. Your smart speaker is part of an acoustic world that extends beyond your hearing. There are layers of sound it can respond to that you will never notice. So when people swear their device responded out of nowhere, and that no one said its name, and nothing on TV mentioned anything close, they might be right. To them, the room was quiet. To the device, it wasn't. If the Portland case shows the risk of what Alexa does inside your home, another case in Germany shows the risk of what happens once your audio leaves it. A man in Germany wanted to see what data Amazon had on him. Under European privacy laws, he had the right to request it. He expected to get a small archive of his own voice commands, weather checks, music requests, simple things. Instead, when he opened the audio files he received, he heard something else. Voices he didn't recognize. A man and a woman talking. Background sounds from a different apartment. Showers, music, household noises. Completely private moments from a life that wasn't his. Amazon had bundled audio from a stranger's Alexa into his export. Roughly 1,700 recordings from someone else's home, handed over because of a labeling, indexing, or retrieval error in the system. Amazon apologized. They said it was a one-off mistake. But you can't unhear that kind of mistake. It shows that these recordings don't just vanish into a black box. They're stored, referenced, moved around, compiled, and, under the right conditions, sent to people who were never supposed to hear them. If a system can confuse identities that badly once, you have to wonder how many smaller errors never surface at all. When you put these incidents side by side, the random laughs, the phantom commands, the wrong receipt recordings, it can start to feel like evidence of something sinister or supernatural. But the reality in many ways is even stranger than a simple ghost story. Smart speakers are not simple tools. They are evolving systems built on layers of machine learning. They listen constantly. They guess constantly. And sometimes they guess wrong. But because they sit at the intersection of always-on microphones, cloud storage, user accounts, and opaque algorithms, their mistakes spill over into our lives in ways that feel deeply personal. A private conversation sent to the wrong person, a random laugh in an empty room, an answer to a question no one asked, a stranger's recordings landing in your inbox. None of these things are supposed to happen, but they did. And every time one of these failures becomes public, we get a tiny glimpse into how much complexity is hiding behind that friendly voice. Most of the time, everything works. You get your timer, your playlist starts, the weather report plays. But behind that smooth surface is a machine that never stops listening, never stops analyzing, and never fully explains itself. We traded a little bit of mystery for a lot of convenience. We put networked microphones in our kitchens, bedrooms, and offices. And now we're slowly finding out what that really means. This is Phantom Protocol. And if your smart speaker laughs tonight, you might listen a little differently.